We are Shotgun Superstars, rocking with V-Rock. I'm Chrissy.
And I'm Jim. And we're rocking with V-Rock.
Rocking with V-Rock!
We are Asphalt Valentine, and you are rocking with V-Rock.
Rocking with V-Rock. Ready to rock with V-Rock!
Hey, this is Paul Liddell from Dangerous Toys and Dirty Looks, and I'm rocking with V-Rock.
With V-Rock!
I'm rocking with V-Rock.
With V-Rock, and I'm looking forward to fight.
Hey, it's Jeff from American Jet Set, and you're rocking with V-Rock. Because you're smart. You got good taste.
It's a little promo thing. I may have you do one too. Usually everybody does one. Hey man, thank you so much for being here, man. I've wanted to chat with you for a long time. Just finally reached out, just still been one of my favorite bands for probably since New Religion. That was when I first got a hold of you guys, and it was like, holy shit, you guys
that long.
capture the sound of the 80s, and you've carried it, man. I mean, just carried it and just kept it big, How long you been playing the drums? When did you start?
Well, since I was 12, actually. And since I'm 41 now, so you do the math. Pretty old.
I don't want to do the math. It's way too early for math right now, brother.
I think the same thing. It's the same thing I think about when I graduated. It was like, no, that was like 5 years ago. And I realized, no, it's more than 20.
Dude, it doesn't seem like it. I mean, you go through life, and I'm 51 now. And it's
really?
Yeah, it's like, wait a minute. High school was like 30, 40 years ago. I mean, it's not 89 anymore. It's freaking 2021. No, this can't be right.
Yeah.
So you were born in like 80.
Yeah, 1980. Exactly.
Wow. No shit. So then you grew up. You were a kid in the 80s, man, when all this shit was hitting, and the big hair bands, and now, okay, so you started playing drums about 92. So you were influenced in the 80s. So tell me, who was like your influences? What artists, bands were your primary influence to get into music?
The thing was that MTV, I mean, if you wanted to watch MTV when I was young, you needed a parabol or some for a cable TV. And we didn't have that. And I wasn't really that musically interested until I was about 11. So it was actually never the 80s hair metal bands that actually influenced me to anything. It was actually a friend of mine in what's it called? Preschool? No, not preschool, middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah, exactly. He said to me, "Hey, I have this tape. You have to listen to it." Because when I was younger, I just listened to the records that were at home, and my parents listened to, funk and stuff like that. So it was never much rock going on, except for maybe the few tracks with guitars with Michael Jackson. Right. But it was actually right before Carpentry. He said, "Hey, I have this tape. You have to listen to it." And it was the drum intro and the song "You Could Be Mine" with Guns N' Roses.
Oh,
and that was the first time I ever heard. I'm actually not that big of a Guns N' Roses fan now, but when I was like 11 and I heard that drum intro and that guitar going with Slash, I think we actually skipped Carpentry and sat out there for like 40 minutes just listening to the song over and over again.
Right. I mean,
so he actually took me. Like a couple of months later. We have something here in Sweden where kids we have a week off, which we can go and try out different stuff. Usually it's for physical education, but there was this place called Lubu, which had music instruments you can go there and try. So he actually convinced me to go there, because we had already been like a year. We did in Carpentry, we did like this fake guitars, and we stood in front of the mirror and tried to be Slash and Axl Rose and stuff like that. So we went there. I was supposed to play guitar, even though I didn't know how to take a fucking chord. But when we got there, like the teachers there said, okay, we're just gonna bunch you up with a bunch of other kids we never met before, and one of the girl, it was us and 4 guys. No, actually 3 guys and 1 girl, but nobody knew it was a girl.
Oh shit!
Yeah, she really looked like that dude, and well, the teacher didn't notice. He was like, "Oh, what do you want to play, dude?" And she's like, "My name is Lotta," which is a girl's name.
It's a girl's
name. It was kind of embarrassing. Yeah, but one of the guys there already played guitar. So I figured, okay, he knows how to play guitar. My friend who I went there with, he also plays guitar. So I figured I'll take those things back there that bangs a lot. So that's actually how it started.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I was the same way, when I was... Right. When I was young, I thought, I was basically influenced by the 70s. So my favorite was Ted Nugent. And I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to play guitar. Parents got me a guitar. They got me a Birdland, actually. And
really?
It was a really nice guitar. And they thought I was going to play guitar. And I just could not get the hang of that stupid thing. I mean, it was like my fingers didn't want to do what it wanted to do. And I had a lot of energy as a kid. I mean, I was on Ritalin and this and that. I just had energy. And I figured, you know what? Drums are better. I mean, you could just release so much energy and get so much out. And, then I took up them. I'm not nearly as accomplished as you. I just fiddle with them. They sit in the garage and they call me every now and then, but, it was like drums were better. I could not get the hang of the guitar at all.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
I'm a music teacher.
Right. I mean, okay, Annie Clark, I got to mention this. Annie Clark is in here. And she said hi. She said, good morning.
Good morning.
She is actually from Sweden. She has a band here in the States out of Atlanta, Georgia called Shotgun Superstars. And they do a lot of European rock. They do covers. They're going to be doing originals, but they do covers. And they cover Anthem for America. They cover, I think 21 to I. Oh, no. Hell Raising Women. They do that one. They open up their set with Hell Raising Women. And I caught them and I'm like, oh my God. Really good friends of mine, her and her husband, Scott Clark, started this band just to get that, because US needs to know more about the European bands that they're not paying fucking attention to. I mean, Americans sit there.
It's getting better.
It is getting better, courtesy of the Monsters of Rock cruise, of course, Larry, and getting more European infused into the ship, so that people get exposed. But
yeah, we kind of noticed that as well. I mean, if you look at the Spotify accounts, and you can see where people listen to the music, and I think if it's not our biggest, it's our second biggest, not viewers, but the listeners are in the US. But we didn't know what to do with it. And when we played the Melodic Fest in Chicago a couple of years back, we didn't know what to expect. But it was actually very humbling because people went all over the place. And we have a great fan called Lindsay Ruppe, which is from, I'm not sure where in America she's from, but she was actually afraid of flights. And she took her first flight to Chicago just to see us. So we actually got her over her fear of flights. I mean, it's very humbling that people actually, one thing coming over the fears, but also that they're actually taking themselves to Chicago just to see us play and to meet us. And like you said, talking about how they heard New Religion or the other albums. And I mean, for us, coming from a small town in Sweden, I mean, it's fantastic. It's good to know that all the work you put down, all the hours actually pay off in a sense that at least people enjoy your music.
We enjoy it. Let me tell you. Now, I read one a place where the band kind of started off. You, Denny, and Vic Zeno when he was in it. You guys started this band as kind of a tribute kind of thing to celebrate the music and try to bring that music back from the 80s. And then it turned into
more or less. It was Danny's idea.
Yeah. and it turned into, this now where it's, very serious, very accomplished, very, and big, probably bigger than you thought it was going to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. When we started out, there was nothing. I mean, we did. I mean, Danny, me, and Vic actually played in a band before. I mean, I've played with Danny since I was 18.
Wow.
So, yeah. So we have been 23 years together in a band, more or less.
Oh,
But we played exactly. We played in a very. I mean, it was this crock pot of different metal genres in one. I mean, Danny loved the power metal stuff. I loved death metal stuff, and Vic loved the melodic metal and stuff like that. So, but that band didn't really work out. And after a couple of years, Danny just said, I just want to do something to like do an homage to the '80s rock, which he liked. And then the influence was very much Skid Row and Def Leppard. And when we started out, we didn't have any thought at all that anybody would want to listen to this. And about 3 years later, Crash Diet came, released their record on Universal, and actually more or less started a thing. But we actually knew them, and we kind of found out that there were more and more bands that would got into this, what was called sleaze genre back then. Which everybody nowadays don't want to be associated with. Because I think the sleaze genre was so much accustomed to. I'm not really sure, but I believe that many thought that it was supposed to be like in the good old '80s when everybody was doing drugs and alcohol and having sex with 25 women each and every hour. But yeah, I mean the genre sleazy it doesn't really sound too serious. It sounds like a couple of young dudes that just want to party.
Right.
And
that's how it was. I mean, if you read the magazines back in the day, it was, you had Motley Crue and Faster Pussycat and them guys just tearing the strip up and, doing whatever the hell they wanted to. And, fans like me thought, okay, I'm supposed to do the same thing. And I got in a lot of fucking trouble for it. But, it was like, but nowadays it seems like, you can be Crazy Lixx and doing that music, but you don't have to play the drug game and the alcohol game and this and that. You don't need that for good rock.
I would say actually that people are very, very what's it called, approving of it, because me, for instance, I don't drink, and I have never done drugs. And whenever people ask me when you're on tour, do you want a beer or do you want a whiskey or something like that, and I said no, I don't drink. I mean, I think it was one dude of all the shows we've done in Brazil who thought that was weird. Everybody else was just, okay, you don't drink. Some people ask if you're an alcoholic, but that was just not the case. And we just explain I don't like to drink, and they're like, okay, that's fine, cool. And doesn't really affect the whole rock and roll persona thing. I mean, we're here to play music. That's the bottom line. And as long as we play live, and if we leave our heart and souls on the stage, what we do backstage, if we just like want to play chess, or if we want to destroy a room, that's not the thing. That's not what we're doing this for.
Right.
And we're actually pretty boring guys. Backstage we're pretty boring. We're usually just tired.
Right. Everybody has this glamorous picture of backstage. I've been backstage many times, and it's not as glamorous as people think. It's just guys hanging out, eating cheese, drinking a beer or two. Now back to the not drinking thing. I don't drink either. I drank for the good part of my life up until about 41. I think I was 41, and I was not an alcoholic as I could consider myself. I just partied way too fucking much, and then it was time to get rid of it. And I was scared. I was like, I didn't listen to rock and roll music for about a year, because I was afraid,
really?
I was like, man, and then I was afraid on how I would be accepted by people and this and that. I was afraid to go on the cruise for the first time, because I'm like, man, it's just going to be a bunch of drunks and people trying to pour beer down my throat. And like you said, I was shocked and kind of humbled on how people react. They're like, oh, that's cool, man. Then I'll get you a Pepsi. Or, and they don't treat me any different. I mean, I don't want treated any different. I just choose not to drink. And, that's the way it is. You don't need, and I found that out, you don't need alcohol or drugs to rock. You really don't.
No,
It's all music, feeling. That's what it is. It's not anything else, man. And nice to hear you don't drink, man. I mean, it destroys careers. It destroys bands. It just, you know, it really does.
I mean, my boys in the band drink, but they're not like the over drinkers or something like that. And
Right.
I mean, even when I used to drink, I wasn't this raging alcoholic who busted up people or got mad or something. It was usually I was actually pretty much more fun actually, because I was a bit more happy and easier to laugh. But for me, it was just like, I don't want to go to the gym the day after and be hungover. And it was just a decision that one day I said, okay, I'm gonna try stay away for this weekend, because I usually only drank every other weekend. But I said, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna drop this for a week and see what happens. Now it's been, well, I was 24, so it's 17 years.
Nice. I mean,
it just kept on going.
And you probably play better. You got more stamina. You know, you just.
Yeah, but I never drank live. Never. Even when I drank, I never took anything before a gig. I was always been very serious about my playing. I've been very devoted to playing for technique and learning that thing, especially when I was a death metal drummer. I mean, you need a technique to, you need a technique to do that stuff. You can't just you can't blow your load on one song and then you have 10 more to do, and then you're pretty much dead.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know how, you know, like bands like Slayer could have done it back in the day when they was just all fucked up and just playing. I'm like, how in the hell can you do that? You just had to, you know, like Adler from Guns N' Roses, that dude admits that he was on drugs and drunk all the time.
Yeah.
And his level of playing was like up here. It shocked the hell out of me. I don't know.
I mean, he was probably drunk and on drugs most of the time either way. So it was kind of like a normal state.
Normal state. Then when he got sober, he's like, okay, I got to relearn everything again.
Yeah, start shaking.
Right. Now, you got, you know, we'll just touch on this real quick. You guys almost called it quits. I remember this. And I'm like, you know, you guys lost your guitarist, and you really, and like a lot of bands, you don't know how you're going to replace, you know, key members of the band, and your guitar section is pretty much taking away Danny's voice, which is the sound of the band. You get the guitars are the hooks, the licks of Crazy Lixx. I mean, and you guys had to have been like, you know, what do we do? You know,
it was the second time actually since after Vic quit the band as well to join Hogger Superstar. And we were on a roll back then. We were having large gigs planned, opening gigs for big bands in Sweden, but that all went down the drain as soon as Vic left the band. And we knew he was going to leave the band. I mean, if someone says, hey, you want to go join us for a tour, and everything works out and they're good friends, and why would Hogger Superstar want any other guitarist? We knew they were going to ask him. And who are we to say to him, you can't do this? I mean, we left on very friendly terms. I mean, I still hang out with Vic. I mean, he helped me in my house this summer. We were making a fence. I mean, we have been friends, and I've known him longer. I played with him since I was 17.
Holy shit!
Yeah, and I actually have been the substitute drummer for Hogger Superstar on a gig as well. And they asked me a couple of years ago because Adi was going to have his 500th child or something. I'm not sure, preferred child. So we're still friends and among that. But yeah, after Ade and Ed left, we were kind of like a turning point. I mean, the record we did before was, I mean, I'm not going to put down any of the records we've done. I mean, I do enjoy some songs on both Right Avenue and the self-titled one. But there was no, I mean, if you listen to New Religion and then listen to those two records, you can see that it's kind of divided. It's not, it's going down. I'm not sure going down, but it's a different thing. Yeah.
You know,
but the mentality was different. I mean, there was a different approach to the songs. Yeah, and we didn't know. I mean, we were not in a good place. We were not having. I mean, we're in a down place more or less, and the guys left, and I understand that they had something with what they called some band in England he was doing some audition for, and we knew there as well. I mean, they were backed by a lot more money than we were, so we figured, yeah, he's probably going to go there as well, which he did, and we don't blame him for that either. But me, Jens, and Danny sat down, and Danny was pretty bummed about it, figuring I don't want to look for two more guitarists.
Right.
I think this is pretty boring. I don't really feel like this is going to happen anything. But luckily enough, Jens Lundgren, who is our guitarist now, had actually helped us on 2 gigs before because Ed couldn't make it. So we had him kind of like in the back of our head, because we knew that at least he knows some of the songs already. He's been a lifelong fan of the band. Actually, he was there during the demo days.
Oh, shit.
And yeah, so we talked about, well, we have him. I mean, he works out, he's friends with the band, he knows most of the songs already. Maybe it's just a question of finding one guitarist instead of two. And we talked about it, and me and Jens kind of lit a fire under Danny, and it's like, let's just give this a try. And we, luckily enough, we did. We found Chris. He was actually a second guy who auditioned for the band, and man, he fits like the glove. He fits like a glove. He and Jens, they what they call they complement each other.
Right.
And
totally.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is like more technical, and Jens is kind of like the emotional guitarist. And
right.
I mean, those two together, I can't imagine this band without those two guys.
You know, and I gotta say it. You know, ever since, and I think they came on Rough Justice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But when I first, you know, and as a fan, you go into it when they replace a member. You know, like Iron Maiden replace their members here and there, and you go in and you're like, okay, what's going to happen here? And I went in going, and I hate new music. I hate listening to new music. I hate when a band releases a new album, because is this going to be, and it happens to every freaking band where they take a step back and you go, okay, this isn't them, and I don't like it. So I'm sitting there going, okay, 2 new guitar players. Is this going to suck? And bam, it was like it hit. I was like, okay, they're fine. Yeah. They're still here. And I thought, man, they're better. Yeah. Way better. You know, New Religion is still my favorite album, but you know, it's like you like you said, you went down a little bit with the self-titled and the one before that, Riot Avenue. And then ever since Rough Justice, it's been a constant up climb. And getting better and better and better and better. And I, like you said, even though I love the other members of the bands when they were there, and Vic and Hardcore is fantastic, but I think this chemistry right here, what you guys have right now, right here, is absolutely the way it should be. And I'm glad you guys gave it another shot. We would be.
Thanks, man. We feel the same way.
Right. And I can now you guys seem like you know, from a fan's perspective, you know, there's a lot of bands out there that are going through the motions, and you could tell that it's a business for them, you know, and it's like, okay, you know, a lot of American bands are like that right now. Not a lot, but there are, you could tell. But it seems like Crazy Lixx is having a blast, dude. It's not a business, although it is a business, but it's just you guys are 5 guys on stage just having a freaking blast. And we get that energy from you too.
Yeah, we do. I mean, I think that when you have good relations within the band, that also shows on stage.
Yes.
I'm not putting down neither Vic, Ed, or Ade in any way at all. But with these 2 guys in the band, and the Jenses know each other since long ago. And the chemistry we had and the friendships we developed during the years, I mean, we do have a blast on stage, because we feel more like a unit now than we did before.
Right.
And like I said, it's not to put down any of the other old members in any way. I mean, I figure for like Hardcore Superstar would be the same thing. I mean, it's one thing to say Thomas Silver was the original guitar player, and he was very cool on stage. And I've seen them multiple times, both with Thomas and with Vic. But when I see Hardcore Superstar on stage with Vic, now for me that feels more complete.
Right.
And that's not putting Thomas down in any way. I loved him on stage. He was this like cool gypsy dude on stage. But Unity, if we talk about Unity, I think they look more united with Vic than with Thomas.
Right. And I think you know the same goes for Crazy Lixx with the lineup it is now. You look more united. You know, it just feels. It's got that feeling of just fun. Smiling, you know, it doesn't feel like, okay, we got a record company says we got to release 2 more albums. We don't fucking want to, but we have to, you know, we're not having fun, you know. It happens to a lot of bands, and you know, it almost happened to you guys, and it didn't. It didn't happen, which is freaking awesome. Now you guys are getting, you know, bigger and bigger and bigger every year. Every album, you're getting bigger and bigger. And I know you have a family. I know Danny has a family. How do you guys balance it? Yes, I didn't really look into the other guys. I do know the prominent two, Danny and you. And how do you all manage it? You know, the balance. You have to have great women behind you to balance this, you know.
I mean, if you look at our tour schedule, we don't play that much as maybe other bands do. I mean, we have never, except for the tour we did with Hardcore Superstar in 2008, we have never done more than 3 or 4 shows in a row. And family is a big reason for that. I mean, for us, I mean, our women, of course, they're great and they take care of our children, and they always what's it called? They always stand up for you when you ask them.
Back.
Yep. Yeah, they got our backs, exactly. But I mean, at the same time, we have to do like this balance act. I mean, we can go on a tour for 3 weeks, but it's kind of hard to motivate it and do it justice for our families and for ourselves as well. So we've done this thing that instead we go, okay, we do maybe 2 gigs in a row and sometimes 3, depending where it is, how hard it is to get there. And of course, there's a question of money as well. I mean, it's not like we're millionaires doing this shit, but I mean, at the same time, we don't want to go away from our families 3-4 days and then go home like, yeah, I made $2.
Right.
How are you doing?
Exactly. You know. And you're gonna miss your family no matter how much you enjoy being on tour and on stage, you're gonna miss your family, dude. I mean,
yeah, but we have a great thing called Skype.
Yes.
I mean, we were in Japan and we only did 2 shows in Japan, but we needed to be there a day before, and I always wanted to go to Japan, so we all talked about going a couple of days earlier. So we were actually there for almost a week, if I don't remember, if I'm not mistaken. And well, I chatted with my wife and my son every day. I mean, when it was morning in Japan, it was like nighttime here, so just before his bedtime. So we spoke to each other every day. So it's not. I don't think it's the same problem now with all the technology. Considering if you're in the 80s and you only had like a payphone,
right?
Yeah,
you know, now you can actually see each other and talk and communicate. Yeah, it's a lot easier. And you can do it right from your hotel room bed, and you know, right there, right on the cell phone.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a lot easier.
I mean, it's a balance act, and of course, there is always hardship considering. But since we try to do a respectful thing and not be away too much and too often, it hasn't backfired yet. So we can keep doing it.
Hey, happy wife, happy life. Don't we all know it, right?
Oh yes.
You make you make more time for her, or you know, make her the priority, and she allows everything else to just flow and take place. That's just the way it is. If I don't make my wife the priority,
it's a matter of good communication.
Exactly, and that's it. You know, you have to. Now, you guys, I mean, I sat down to do this and thinking about it, and like we were talking about in the beginning, you seems like the 80s were just yesterday, or you know, it's coming up on how many years since we've been out. You know, yeah, I know how many albums you have out, but I really didn't realize how many albums you have out. You have 7 albums, including excluding the live album, but 8.
Yeah.
You're coming up on 20 years next year.
Yeah.
Of the band being together. I couldn't fathom that. I was like, wait a minute, this has got to be wrong. So I did the math again. I'm like, holy shit, it doesn't seem that long.
Some takes
for you. But for me, it doesn't.
That's when you start finding gray hairs in your beard and hair. You're going, oh shit, it's been 20 years, hasn't it?
It's been 20 years, yeah. Now, you guys got, except for the Monsters of Rock cruise, because that's a really great way to celebrate 20 years of the band being on there. Anything planned, like a special show here and there or something like that for Crazy Lixx, maybe to celebrate 20 years?
No, we haven't planned anything for 20 years, because in reality, if we're going to celebrate 20 years, we would actually have to bring in all the old members that were part of it. And we had a lot of lineup changes up until Luke got in the band. When Luke got in the band, I think that was 2004, 2005. I'm not sure exactly, but when he got in the band, that's when we had like this core lineup of Crazy Lixx that actually that's where the journey really started. I mean, we had done gigs before, and we had a great guitarist in Kalle Felt, who played with us for a year more or less, and our old bassist Mirza, which right now is a psychopath from hell, but I won't go into it. I won't get deep into him, but he's crazy. I mean, in that case, we actually have to go and invite all those people. And I mean, there's no really, I mean, what would we do? Play the demo songs? So we haven't actually spoken about that at all. I mean, New Religion, actually, La Minority we came out 2007, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, that's 5 years to that 20 years anniversary. And I mean, maybe we'll do something then, play like the whole album through and through. But the funny thing is that most people, as yourself, found out about us when we released New Religion. So I'm not sure if it's more than like a 200 local fans who want to hear the whole La Minority album from back to back.
I went back, like when you discover certain bands at a certain time. I just, I found Metallica, Ride the Lightning, and I went back and listened to Kill 'Em All, and I was like, holy shit. But it takes a minute to find, so I was just happy I found you guys when I did. And it was like I was listening to an internet radio station, because at that time it was internet radio, because FM radio just absolutely sucks, and you can't listen to it. So I started listening to internet radio, and that's where I found Crazy Lixx. I found Heat, that it was just. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I thought everybody was American bands. I didn't really know yet. And then I found out, wait a minute. I'm never going to see these guys live because they're in Europe. So I almost didn't want to listen to it anymore, because I knew I wanted to see it live. But, it was like, but I did go backwards just like everybody else. They, if somebody finds you on Street Lethal, they're going to go back and look at the catalog. And now, and the cool thing about that, finding new music now, is if you find something like, I found Eclipse before the 2019 cruise. Knew they were going to be on there, so I checked them out, and it was like, oh my god! Now I have a new band, and now I have 5 new albums to listen to discover. And it's you're finding new music. Everybody wants to find new music, so boom, you gain fans. The fans you gain now are going to go back and listen to everything.
Yeah, they do, but still, most references usually go to New Religion and the last 3 albums. We actually noticed that when we toured for a Royal album, that some songs that we figured, these are songs that were very popular like 5 years ago. We still play those, and we started to notice that people, especially when we were in Japan, we noticed that it was not so much the old material, but the new one that was popular there. Because usually it's the other way around. When you play new material, the people are like, oh yeah, cool, but I want to hear that song from that album. But in Japan and some other, I think it was Germany, we noticed that people got actually more excited when we started playing newer songs from Rough Justice and For a While than when we did songs from New Religion, for instance.
Nice.
Except for Blame It on Love. That song still is the number one to most people.
Yeah, that's a great song. I mean, that my number one. It's okay. 21 Till I Die is absolutely a fucking anthem.
Yeah.
But
especially when you're 40.
Exactly. But man, Eagle. I love Eagle. It's just, and that brings me to another point. I mean, your writing process. I mean, does all the members of the band contribute to writing?
No. I haven't written a single note. I was almost the only thing I ever contributed to was that one line in Rock and a Hard Place. The streets ain't always paved with gold. You know that line?
Yeah.
I think the first one was not gold; it was paved with something else. And I said, no, you have to put gold there. And Danny actually said, well, do you want to be like a co-writer on the song? I was like, are you stupid for one line? No, that's fine.
No, but now you don't want to be a drummer. You don't want to be just a drummer. You want to be a co-writer. Oh, what the?
Not anymore. No, I used to write lyrics before, but I was young and dumb, and I'm kind of bad at it. So I just keep to the drums and shut up. No, but all the guys in the band except me write music.
Okay.
And everybody sends material to each other, but it's usually Danny that has the last say, so to speak. I mean, he's not a dictator in any way, but I mean, he has been the heart and soul of this band since it started. I mean, it was his idea. He's the lead singer. He has written 90% of the material. So it's kind of usually goes with him. Since he's the producer as well, he has to have a clear vision of what's going on. I mean, from this album, for instance, we had outside writers for some of the songs. Some have done a collaboration with Danny. And I think one of the songs Danny only contributed lyrics to. I'm not sure, actually. Oh, wow. I usually just get, here's 10 songs, learn them, go to the studio.
You don't find out the details about it. Just learn this and just.
Yeah, more or less like that. But there's 2 songs on this album. Reason I'm looking up is because I have the vinyl up there.
Right.
But Chris has 2 songs on this album that are his music-wise. I'm not sure if he and Danny worked on the lyrics and stuff like that, because we don't sit in the rehearsal space and Danny shows us a song and goes, "Okay, I have this here," and we jam it out. It's usually, here's the demo song, and usually, the foundation of the song is the same for the drums. So if there's any things that happen later, it's during the guitar and bass process. The drums, usually Danny sits there with me and says, well, hold back here, or actually for Rise Above, I had to stop him. Because he was like, okay, but do more fills, do more this. Can you go a little bit more crazy here? And I was late. I told him through the studio, and our sound engineer started laughing because he said that's the only time in his life he heard a drummer say, "I want to play less."
Right?
Because I told him this is too much. I mean, you're ruining the basics of the song here. Right. So you can't do all these crazy fills, because then the lyrics and the guitars are going to get drowned in it.
Right.
But but usually
have to stand out in that song. Them have to stand out in that song.
Yeah. I mean, I can do chops till I die, but I mean, if it doesn't serve a purpose in the song, there's no real use for it. I usually go a little bit more crazy live, but there's always this balance act there as well. Right. But I mean, for the writing process, I mean, the song Snakes from Rough Justice, for instance, Chris had sent a bunch of material he had been working on. And if I don't remember, if I remember correctly, it was Danny heard this guitar part, that do 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 that part, and he had that in a whole different way. But Danny took it, changed it, and and after that, the song came about. So Snakes in Paradise is a collaboration between Chris and Danny.
Very cool. Very cool. And that leads me to it. You guys have had lineup changes. You guys have had this, and now Danny being the principal, it makes sense. You guys, unlike other bands, like, okay, you could take Metallica and say, okay, the Black Album, after the Black, everybody says after this album, I hated them, or they were great for the first two, and then, I got a friend who lives and dies by every band's first two albums, and after that, they're shit. And I mean, it's like, and I can count on him. I'll post something, I'll be like, okay, he's coming, he's gonna say something, and there he is. This album was shit. And that doesn't happen with Crazy Lixx. You guys have stayed true to your sound. You have not changed. You have just been, and even though you stay true to that sound and that formula and everything like that, it still gets better. It's more mature wise, but it's not changed in any way. You're not trying to mature by saying, okay, now we're going to play funk metal instead of, this 80s crap is over, and trying to go in a different direction. You guys are still staying true, maturing as you do it. And, like I said before, I hate listening to new records because, God damn it, someday they're going to be bad. And I didn't listen to Street Lethal for like 2 days. And because and then I put it on as like, this fucking thing hasn't come out of my CD player yet. And it's like, thank God, it's not bad. I mean, but you guys stay true to your sound and keep driving. I mean, like I said, maturing. It's not.
I think actually when you tried a little bit different on this album, I mean, we had a different mixer for the first time. We had Tobias Lundell, who has been working with, every major band in Sweden, more or less. And also, for me, I think there's a bit difference, but it's like you say, we can't really go away from the 80s feel because that's who we are. We also, in that respect, we also narrow ourselves down a lot because, our audience is wide and large, but it's not as large as other genres. So if we find like crossover or something like that. But for instance, both Street Lethal, the song, and Rise Above have more metallish guitar riffs, so to speak, compared to our old stuff. But I always liked that. I actually been poking fun of Danny a long time, because he likes thrash metal like Megadeth, the old Megadeth and stuff like that. And I said to him, why don't you just incorporate? Yeah, I said to him, why don't you just incorporate that in Crazy Lixx music? We could still make it sound Crazy Lixx, even though if the riff would be a little bit harder.
Right.
And this is like the closest thing we've come. So we'll have to see what happens afterwards. But it's nice to not always go soft.
Right.
So to speak.
Exactly. And that is like Eagle is soft, but it's not soft. The lyrics, if you listen to it, it's Children of the Cross. It's a softer song. It's a more of a ballader, but it's heavy. You got One Fire, One Goal. It's a soft song. It's a well thought out lyrically song. Makes you think, but it's heavy. You guys don't. You got that where you can get your point across. And lyrically, you guys. Okay, sleaze metal was all about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But you guys play this sound, but you also incorporate lyrics that just, make you think, make you feel, make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Like Children of the Cross. I didn't know what it was about when I first heard it. I was just, okay, this fucking song rocks. And then I'm listening to it, I'm going, holy shit, who does this kind of song? Who does this?
We do.
We do. And it was, And now it's like my wife one day, she's like, "Who is that?" I'm like, "That's Crazy Lixx." You know, and she's listened to the new album, and she doesn't really get into much, but she's like, "This is," you know, she's like, "These guys are really good." And she goes, "I'm looking forward to seeing them on the boat." So, you know, it's all about, to me nowadays, it's more about lyrical content and heaviness, and how you know, not every ballads don't necessarily have to have a piano. They can be heavy and still get your point across and still make you feel every bit of that song.
Yeah, I feel the same way. When I listen to 80s hard rock, I actually prefer the power ballads. I mean, if I listen to Skid Row, I won't really listen to Piece of Me. I would listen to, I mean,
Wasted Years.
Not Wasted Time, right?
Wasted Time.
Wasted Years is Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden. I always
Wasted Time and all the power ballads. I think those are the best songs.
In a Darkened Room. I mean, you got just In a Darker Room. It's just an absolute masterpiece from Skid Row.
Yeah.
I think it just spoke, and it's like, wow, and it just gained steam, and it's just amazing. Now you got I Remember You, but that's, you know, overplayed.
No, I don't like that song actually. I
hate it.
It's not my kind of power ballad. I mean, I'm probably gonna get killed by people who are listening to this. I'm probably gonna get jumped on the boat going, "How the fuck can you not like that song?" But I mean, if I compare I Remember You with Wasted Time, it's like we're not even on the same page.
Nowhere near. I mean,
and the Darkened Room for that matter.
Right. I mean, them two songs, they're both on Slave, and Slave is just a masterpiece of an album. And them two just, oh my God, they just kill it on both of them songs. They make you feel everything and still remain heavy as ever.
Yeah.
And you got to do it. Like I said, you know, Home Sweet Home, Motley Crue, come on. That's done. I don't like it. I like other. When you talk power ballad, that's not a power ballad. In a Darker Room, power ballad. You know, Chilling Across, power ballad, because it's got what? Power.
Yeah.
You know, piano is not power. Now I'm gonna get killed.
It could be. I mean, Queen could do it.
Well, Queen is a whole different league. You know, they could do. They
are
a harmonica and a flute on stage and make it freaking amazing. I mean, they're just amazing.
They can write a song about a fucking bicycle and make it happening. I mean, you need some talent to make a song about a bicycle, and everybody thinks it's cool.
And 50 years later, we're still cranking it. I mean, you know,
exactly.
I mean, God. Now, your favorite Crazy Lixx album. If someone comes up to you on the boat, on Monsters Rock Cruise, says, "Man, caught your show, great," or I'm thinking about catching your show, I want to see what you're like. What album do you point them to? And don't say New Religion. Because that's everybody's.
I would say Rough Justice.
Rough Justice is fantastic. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. I think so. Not only because I think it has. Well, it's kind of hard actually, because if, for instance, my favorite song ever with Crazy Lixx is Eagle.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, but I mean, Eagle on the Forever Wild CD. Even though I like Forever Wild, it's not my favorite album. But I would say Rough Justice, not only because I love the songs on there, but also since it's kind of like marked our revival. So it has a special place for me, that we actually took ourselves out of deep ground and actually made it out of there. So I would say Rough Justice. Mainly because Snakes in Paradise, for instance, is one of my favorite songs on there.
That's a great tune. Wild
Child is very good as well. I mean, I would say those of that reason.
Cool. I mean, absolutely. I totally agree. You know, totally agree with that one. Now you've done a lot of festivals. I mean, you guys seem to be on every festival in Europe. I mean, if it's a festival that means anything or it's any kind of good, you know, Crazy Lixx is there. I got to get over there one of these days. But if you were to pick one show that stands out, after 19 years, one Crazy Lixx show that stood out, was badass, that you're like, man, that was just the pinnacle for me. Where was it? I love asking these questions because it makes people think, and they look like deer in headlights.
I was actually thinking during that when you spoke about there's two shows that stands out. The one is the Bang Your Head Festival, which we did a video for The Killer, because it was the first time we used pyro. We had never used pyro before, and I mean, we didn't know what to expect. And when those flames came out, I had totally forgotten that they kill all the air on stage. Oh. So I was doing like this deep inhale because I was playing drums and was sweaty. And all of a sudden I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh, what the fuck happened? And then I realized, oh yeah, it's the fire. So we started playing Killer. It was like, when all the fire came, it was like, okay, breathe now. Hold your breath, breathe. Hold your breath, breathe. It was like that. And the other one was... I'm going to get hanged for this because I can't remember. And I'm Spanish, so I'm going to get hanged by these people. But we played a festival, an outdoor festival. It's like a town festival in Barcelona. And I can't for my life remember if it was Calella or Ripollet Festival. Oh. I think it was Ripollet. But because that festival, we didn't know what to expect. It was like a giant stage. The sound guys were pretty Spanish. It was Ripollet. Thank you, Annie Clark.
Yes, that's where she's from.
Oh, it is? Okay, cool. Well, Ripollet was thank you. Okay, you don't have to embarrass myself anymore. No, but because that show, the thing was that I could speak an hour about that show because the sound technicians and everybody, I mean, they did a full sound check for every band with the same gear. So it was like, why do you need to sound check the drums again? It's the same drums.
The same drums.
Yeah. And right before we went on, it was this thunderstorm that was coming. So we could see in the back, it was like a couple of kilometers away. And it was like the whole sky was just thunder and lightning. And we figured, oh yeah, we're going to get drowned on this show. But we came up, and since it was the Rough Justice tour, it was perfect because we have these little darker songs on there, and like Killer and stuff like that.
Right.
And it just set the mood. And I didn't see so much from the stage because it was pretty dark by the people. When it turned on the lights, I saw it was like 5,000 people there. And that's probably the most we've ever played in front of. And we were like, really? Whoa, okay, this was cool.
Wow. I would have figured
those stands out when it comes to festivals.
Right. And, Annie.
And Bang Your Head, the thing is that German festivals are extremely well produced. Oh. Germans have the Japanese discipline. I mean, everything just works.
Right.
Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. Everything is organized. They have everything organized there, and that's something to. I love our festivals that are organized. We played a festival in Italy, and I came up and I saw the drums, and it was like the drums were from 1930s, and it was hanging on by a thread, and there was like two stands that were, I mean, they were like an inch thick. Yeah, it was like this. And I was supposed to put my cymbals on that. Yeah, you're like, this will not
you hit it and it falls over. You got to have somebody standing there holding them the whole fucking time.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, when coming to Germany and everything is so organized, you just get happy.
I know. I got guys I know, I know Annie, and she's like, you got to go over there for a festival one of these days. And I, guys in a band called Kick and Valentina, I know pretty well that. About a month ago, I was standing out of a bar in Atlanta, just talking to them, and they're like, you got to go to this festival or that festival, and they're just like, we'll hook you up, we'll tell you what hostels to go to because they're not all bad. Some of them are good, and they're cheap, and you could go over there. People say 15 grand to go, 20 grand to go over to Europe. You could do it in 8 or 5, and they're like. Talk to us. We'll tell you because they go over and they do the Bang Your Head Festival. They do, and they're very popular in Europe. And bands, you guys still love your rock over there. and you still
we do.
cherish it. And where America forgot about it, and I think that's the premise of one of your songs. I mean, how America just forgot where they came from and just lets people control us instead of us doing what we're meant to be. And that song is absolutely amazing.
But at the same time, I mean, if you look at the people playing there, I mean, Vince Neil goes up with his own solo band and plays big shows in front of a lot of people. So I don't think so much the American people has stopped listening to it. I mean, I think it's just like you said. I'm the same thing. I'm the same way. I usually never look up new bands because I'm old and I feel like I just want to listen to my old Pantera records because that's what I grew up and it makes me feel something. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, if rock was dead in America, I mean, there wouldn't be a stadium tour with Def Leppard and Poison and all these bands. The Motley Crue wouldn't sell out stadiums and arenas, and the Monster Rock Cruise would probably not be a thing. But I think for smaller bands to be recognized, as you said, I think the problem more lies in radios don't want to touch bands like us since there's not commercial value, and MTV has not shown a music video for 20 years. So,
oh my God.
I mean, you have to spread yourself through YouTube and stuff like that instead. And to get into a market like the US, it's very hard, especially when it comes to visas as well. I mean, in Europe, especially for us people that are in the EU, for us it's just, okay, want to play in Spain? Yeah, we just take a flight. That's not a problem. But if we want to go play in the US, you need the visas, you need the work visas, you need everything. And the work visas are expensive as fuck.
I'll bet.
Yeah, $3,000 for 6 people.
Jesus.
No.
Wow.
That's what it costs. So I mean, so I mean, if you want, and that's just the visas. And then you have to add up, okay, if you want to go on tour in the US, you have $3,000 in visas. You have maybe the same amount in flights to get to a certain point. I mean, we're talking $6,000 right on the bat. It's kind of hard to tell a promoter, yeah, we need this much.
We need 20 grand up front, and then we'll start playing. We can do 2 shows. Exactly. And that's tough. And you guys did the melodic. Is that the only time you guys have been here? Was the Melodic Rock Festival up in Chicago?
For playing, yes. Yeah. Crazy Lixx, yeah. But I think Jens, when he was playing by Bang, has played Rocklahoma, I think.
Okay, yeah.
So he has been there. But for us, it was the first and only time we played in the US. So we're really looking forward to more because we have heard so much great stuff about it. And we're just crossing our fingers that this new mutation I read about yesterday is not going to fuck things up for us. So we can come in February.
No, it's not. No, if it even thinks about fucking things up, I'm coming over there and I'm grabbing all 5 of you and saying, they're with me and I'm bringing you on the boat. There's no way you guys are missing this boat. You can't. No. Please, no. I'll be praying every single day because don't get me started on the politics and how there's things that go on, and it seems like the news media likes to get your attention over here instead of focused on something over here. So they kind of try to lead you over here and say, "Oh, new mutation," just when something else came out. It's some newsworthy thing. They don't want you to. It's a control thing. That's how I feel about it. But
I don't know, man. I have friends that work in not in the pharmaceuticals, but in the as doctors and nurses and stuff like that. And I mean, I mean, everybody has their own opinion and they're entitled to it. But we have noticed here in Sweden that people who are vaccinated get the disease as well, but that usually 99% of the time those people have underlying diseases from before, either from age or other stuff like that. But here in Sweden we have noticed because most of us are vaccinated here. I mean, I think we're 80% of the population are vaccinated, and we have noticed a huge difference in the hospitals. That's not to say that I mean, you can discuss public, what's called when you got the disease and you get this antibodies for it and stuff like that.
Right.
Which I think is a perfect way to go as well if you want to do that. But I mean, this is widespread for a reason, and the problem is that it keeps growing and mutating. Now the new mutation is from Africa, and what the little I have read about it is pretty heavy.
Right.
So they just hope that it's good news and they can isolate it as soon as possible.
Yeah, I think I heard about it yesterday. I saw something and I didn't read it. I heard new mutation. I'm like, oh, I do not want to hear this. I don't even want to read this, and I don't want to hear it. You know, it's disrupted our lives for so long. We don't want it. We don't want no more disruptions. We're starting to get everything back, and people are getting vaccinated and they're doing their part, you know, and even people that get sick, they're like, man, I should have gotten vaccinated. You know, I don't usually get vaccinated for the flu because, you know, it's the flu. The only reason I got vaccinated, and I tell everybody this, and I'm not just bullshitting and blowing smoke up your ass, I got vaccinated for the sole purpose of getting on Morgue because Crazy Lixx is on fucking Morgue. And I knew damn well they were going to want vaccination cards way back when. I said, I am not missing this fucking cruise for nothing. Yeah. I'm getting the shot. And that's, you know, if it wasn't for Morgue, I appreciate it. I would probably say no, because I don't get the flu shot. So why would I get that? But I don't know. It's just a thing. You know?
I mean, I was the same thing. I mean, I don't get the flu shots here in Sweden. I got like smallpox and stuff like that when I was younger, and I mean that's a different thing. But for the annual flu, I don't get it. No. But I knew this mutation. I knew this corona thing was gonna especially tamper with us traveling. And I mean, for my sake, it was like, okay, I'd rather take it so I can travel easier than doing all this self-isolation 10 days shit. Because if we really had a vaccination, we wouldn't be able to tour at all. I mean, we're working people. I mean, we can't stay at home 10 days to go on a tour because that's not going to work.
No. And then when you come back off tour, you're at home quarantining for 10 days again. You know, you go out of the country, you go, you know, we've went through this, you know, we don't need to do that. So, you know, sometimes getting a stupid shot it's worth it. I mean, you gotta. I don't tell anybody how to live their life. You do you, but don't bitch when you can't do things because you're doing you. You know, oh, I can't go on the boat.
I respect it. If someone is an anti-vaxxer, that's fine. Go ahead. I mean, that's the same thing with alcohol. If you want to drink, drink. If you want to do drugs, do drugs. Right. I just like I don't want to do it. I do it my way. You do it your way, and then as long as we can have a peaceful conversation about it, that's fine.
And 90% of the time,
that's the bottom line.
Right. Now, have you ever been on Morgue or any of these other?
I think you're breaking up, man. I didn't hear what you said.
Uh-oh. Have you ever been on Morgue? Or any of the other music cruises? Am I off? Uh-oh.
You broke up pretty bad, but I think the question was if I ever played a cruise before.
Yes. Have you ever been on one? You know, just as a fan or something like that, you know, not necessarily playing, but have you ever been on one, just on a cruise?
No, we've never played Morgue. Not Morgue, but we have played some cruises that goes from Sweden to Finland, which are if we play as the Swiss rock,
Damn. Am I losing? Okay, we lost Joel. I don't know if we could still see me or if I'm oh. Okay, hold on one second here. Go.
So,
okay.
Can you hear me now?
I got you. Can you hear me?
I got you now as well.
Okay, cool. We're back.
Yeah. No, you're not breaking up.
Technology. I was sweating. I'm like, oh no,
Great stuff.
man. So yeah,
we played this Swedish Finland boat. I think 2 or 3 times we played one of those boats. When Sweden Rock Festival organized it, it was very good. We played one that went from Finland to Estonia, I think, and
nice.
well, let's just leave it. It was a gig, but not the most fun gig we've done.
Okay. Well, let me tell you, you're gonna love Mork. I mean, you're gonna.
Yeah.
The people are absolutely amazing. I mean, this is okay. Me and the wife went on for our first time. We missed an M3 Rock Festival here one year, and I told her, I said, we've got, we're sitting on the couch. I'm like, this boat thing, we got to do this. And she's like, fine, do it. You pay for it. You figure it all out. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. We're going to do this. You're going to get it out of your system and done, because it's expensive.
Yeah.
And within the first couple days of being on this ship, somebody asked her, are you going to come back? She goes, oh, hell yeah. And, we missed one, but this is a thing where she's like, we're going every year because, the bands are great. They're great. But the people you meet and the friendships you make, and, it's not people trying to, pull at you and hear you. Oh my God. They're actual people. They treat artists like, normal human beings, but it's such a fun atmosphere. And I think this will be one of your favorite gigs.
Yeah, we have heard a lot about Mork from our friends in Eclipse and Heat,
yes.
and Hawker Superstar as well. And everybody's go, you have to go to the boat because it's fantastic. I mean, the people, the shows, the food, the boat, everything is just, it can't get much better than that. I mean, go 5 days in beautiful weather, playing shows and meeting a lot of people. I mean, it can't go wrong.
No. And Larry does
so
it.
You can imagine how bummed we have been because we haven't been able to play for 2 years. We were supposed to play 2020 or something like that, and this Corona shit came.
Yep, you were on the boat for 2020. Then you were. I don't remember if you were still on when they changed it to Monster Island. I think you guys were off.
We were asked, and we said, yeah.
Oh, okay. So you were on Monster Island, and then you were still on the boat. And believe me, I've been checking. I'm like, okay, Crazy Lixx is still there, because I've seen every other band on the boat, but that's the one. Or I haven't seen Heat yet. I missed Heat.
Oh,
and
you did. Then you missed something.
I heard they are fantastic. Everybody and I love them on this. I just have not caught them live yet. And they're another one I'm looking for.
It's too bad you're not going to see Eric.
I know,
because the old singer Kenny is back, and Kenny is fantastic, and he's gonna be so cool on stage. But so you're not gonna. It's not like the quality is gonna go down a bit. It's gonna actually be the same or up. But Eric, I mean, I met him a couple of times when we speak, when we meet. But that guy on stage is a monster.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard he is absolutely owned it. It just is incredible. And, I missed him. That was the one that we didn't go on.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck.
But they're playing this year, next year as well, right?
Yep, they're on. And like you said, they got the other guy. So they'll be
I'm pretty sure you're going to get blown away. Yeah, you're going to be blown away. I mean, I'm pretty sure about that.
When I first saw Eclipse, I really didn't know who Eclipse was until they were on the boat. And I have a way of, like most everybody, if they see that somebody's going to be on the boat, they check them out, to see, okay, should I go see him? And it took me 3 listens to get when I interviewed Eric, I told him, I said, I'm not just, this is the truth, but it took me 3 listens to get into Monumentum. I just couldn't get into it. And then all of a sudden it clicked, and it was like, bam. And I went and saw them, and they absolutely blew my mind when I saw them. And a fantastic band. but you always got to look for new music because it's out there and there's good shit out there. Just don't miss it. Uh-oh. I think we're having technical difficulties again. So we'll wait for Joel to work it out. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, no, you disappeared again, but I'm not sure if it's my Wi-Fi that's fucking up. So I turned on with Wi-Fi and just went to 4G. So let's see if that works better.
Hey, you're back and you're better than ever. And Scott's blaming me. It's cold, man. I do this. I start screwing up a lot. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you on Mork.
Yeah, we're looking forward.
Is there anything else you want to get out there? I mean, anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to put out there and tell people and before we close this thing out?
No, just keep supporting us and keep supporting everybody else that's trying to do this shit so we can bring out music to you guys. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do it if you guys weren't there.
Right.
So, I mean, we appreciate it. We appreciate you all. And hopefully I'll meet all of you on Mork.
Oh, you will. I mean, you will. I mean, you're going to meet me. I'm going to be like, hi. I'll all big fanboy and shit on your ass.
We're going to bring each other Pepsis.
Dude, we can have Pepsis or, we might even up the game a little bit. Maybe have a Dr. Pepper or something, man. I mean,
sounds good.
I mean, geez, just fucking. But we'll make sure we get a little umbrella in there and everything. Make it look real good.
So it looks like a drink, yeah.
Right, dude. They make some really good. My wife drinks a little bit, and we go on the beach and this and that, and they do non-alcoholic big coconut drinks. So she's like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah." So she'll get her little alcohol one. I'll get mine. And it's like I got a coconut drink with an umbrella and a fucking straw in there. It's just like, well, we're cool, But they do, they know most people. They always have non-alcoholic versions of all their drinks, so they take care of everybody, But
sounds good. Have a virgin strawberry daiquiri, a real man drink.
Hell yeah, you see these major rock stars running around with this fruity drink with an umbrella in it. It's just freaking hilarious to watch. They're hardcore.
Big from Hooker Superstar loves strawberry daiquiris. I always make fun of him because he looks so damn stupid with them.
So then I'm going to make it a point to get a picture of you with one, and I'm going to send it to Vic and be like, look, you can't take no more shit from fucking Joel anymore.
Yeah, that's like he cares. He's like, yeah, and stop sipping it.
Right. It's like, hey, you know what? Whatever. Yeah, big, like Andy said, big fruity drinks, flip flops, Bermuda shorts, and it's these leather jacket. It's like, okay, this is fucking Mork, dude. It's freaking amazing. But yeah, I think you're gonna love it. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys. I will make a post with all links for Crazy Lixx, for their Facebook page, for the YouTube channel, Spotify, merch, everything. I'll put it up tomorrow so that you guys have no excuse on how you did not check out Crazy Lixx and all their music and stuff before the boat. Annie, you and Scott need to get on the boat. They're trying or planning on getting on that boat because of Crazy Lixx heat and eclipse. And everybody's clamoring for Hardcore Superstar to be on there. So, hey, let's just make it the big four,
The big four. That
would
be cool.
Four, baby,
The
Larry,
big four from umbrella drinks.
Right. Yeah, big four with umbrella drinks. I want to get that group photo. Bam. That'd be freaking awesome. All right, cool, man. Thank you so much for doing this. You enjoy the rest of your
thanks
Sunday.
For having me.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And
you too.
I look forward to seeing you on the boat, man.
Okay. Hope you guys have some sleep. Get some sleep.
Nah, I'm up for the day now.
I'm sorry, man.
Go, man. Yeah, have a good day.
Take care.
Thank
you.
Right.
See you, man.
All right. That was Joel. He's great. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Crazy Lixx, and I know anybody that's checked out their music is looking forward to Crazy Lixx. I'm gonna leave you with one song. Facebook will probably mute it, but I'm gonna leave you with one song off the new album. It is their newest release, which is absolutely great. I mean, Anthem for America is great, but I think their newest release, Rise Above, is really an incredible song. It is an incredible album. It's fantastic. I mean, they just keep going and going and getting better and better and better. Like I said, they don't. To me, they haven't dropped the ball on an album, except for their self-titled where it didn't feel like Crazy Lixx. I mean, ever since, Rough Justice and Beyond is great. And then the first two were Loud Minority and New Religion were fantastic. But this Street Lethal just continues Crazy Lixx and just their dominance, in my opinion, of European music. You can fight me all you want, all you hardcore superstar fans and everybody, but I am absolutely all about Crazy Lixx. And if you haven't checked them out, check them out. Like I said, tomorrow I'll put up all the links, or later today I'll put up all the links so that you can find them, listen to their music if you haven't already. What are you waiting for? Get on it. But here's their latest. I'll leave you with their latest song called Rise Above. Take a listen. It's great. Just have a good Sunday. And I will see everybody here Thursday for a show I will be doing. So have a good day and enjoy the tune. Later.